right, we got everybody?
We've got enough.
Okay, we got a quorum. So, good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order. Do we have anyone from the public who is a guest? No, I guess we have all the board members. Okay, hello, Orca. Good evening, Orca. We have general things that we go through. We'll call the meeting to order. In your packet, you'll see there's this right here, this is our norms and agreements. And basically over the months that we meet, we are interested in what we're doing. We're civilized folks. We get along well, and we like to stick to those because we do them very well. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? Jody, anything to add or take away? Anyone? All right. We need to approve the agenda as it stands. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move to the agenda.
Okay,
I'll second.
right. Motion is made and seconded. Any comments on the agenda?
We seem to be the only ones.
No?
Yes.
Then we will. All those in favor of approving this agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. We don't seem to have any public comment or correspondence, so we'll move forward to the consent agenda, which are the minutes of 3/17 and board organizational affirmations.
I move that we approve the list for this.
All right, so the consent agenda, a motion to approve the consent, the entire consent agenda. All right, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Anyone?
Yeah, so moved.
So moved, all right, need a second?
A second.
All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes and the board organization affirmations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries.
And the reason we had to do the board organization was some people had not done their oath yet last time.
Right. Oh, okay.
Was anybody else expected to be in person? I don't know, if our other candidate for the open seat is, and I know Dimitri's supposed to be here.
Okay,
So I'll hang out downstairs for a little while later.
right. So at this point, we've moved through our beginning situation. Let's go around the table and have the people online and the people in the room introduce themselves and who they represent. I'm Alice Farrell. I represent the Berry Unified Union School District.
I'm Jana Osman and I represent the Twinfield School.
I'm Patrick Welly, represent Washington Central Unified.
Todd Corman, candidate for the board, Washington Central Unified School District, that's what it's called.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Guy, we'll go.
Yeah, sure. Hi, folks. Guy Isabel, at-large member from DUUSD.
Scott? Are you there?
Hey all, Scott Lumens, yes, I can hear you. I'm not quick enough on the unmute button. And I'm board member in the Montpelier-Roxbury district, representative to the CVCC board.
Lyman?
Hi, Lyman Castle, Vice Chair and at-large member from the Montpelier-Roxbury School District.
And Jason?
I'm Jason Monaco. I'm the member from the Cabot School.
All right. Welcome all, and welcome new candidates. If you have any questions for us as we're moving through this, please don't hesitate to ask, because it's a learning experience.
I can see that.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
All right, we'll move forward to number 4, board reports, student representative to the board. We're still trying.
We're still trying, and none of the students showed up for student leadership on Friday, so
Okay,
Abby was also struggling.
all right. Now we have someone who's just joined us.
Annie is our integrated academics humanities teacher.
Okay, welcome, Annie. Program presentation, the building trades. Do we have building trades tonight?
We're supposed to.
Okay,
Let me just see if I can find them.
all righty. Well, in the meantime, we'll move along here, and when building trades comes along, we'll stop and build something.
Start building.
A facilities report. Guy, is that you, facilities?
No, we actually have a chair.
We have a rotating chair, right, Guy?
What's that?
We decided to rotate the chair, is that right?
Yeah, you're it tonight.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so Patrick, all righty.
That's right. So we had a facilities meeting last week and discussed the new design for the new building. We're here from the architects and about all the information that went into the design and the layout. And I don't think, I'll have to ask Jody when she comes back if I don't think there's action for us to take, but where they are with the design is they're ready to go public. And you might have seen a piece in 7 days or the Digger about it. And there's a desire to kind of get ahead of public perceptions and go to the town. So there's a meeting scheduled for to present for the architects to present to the town of Barry, talk about what the new design would mean, and then to move forward with things like traffic studies and then a more intense environmental study after mud season to see where the wetlands are.
Are you going to all the towns? Or,
This one is for Berrytown because the property is in Berrytown.
Right.
So it's the select board and then the,
and we're all invited,
Review
because
board?
you sent, that was
Yes.
the invitation you sent to the select board, right?
yes.
What's the date?
May
May
6th.
So then- Is the design, the design more fleshed out, is an expanded design from what we looked at when it was on the table in your outer office?
I think it's much more fleshed out than the last one that I saw, and the understanding is that it isn't final. There's still a need to, they're still messing with some of the details, and there's still some open questions about whether the design will include enough space for a gymnasium and things, and things future looking if this school needed to have more gen ed stuff than just what the tech center would have.
Great.
Guy has his hand, go ahead, Guy.
Yeah, just some anecdotal stuff. When I'm picking up my coffee on Saturday or Sunday, people are starting to talk to me about it and asking questions like, how many properties have you looked at? Have you looked at X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. But, the side comments are that people are very excited about it. I mean, it's, I'd have to say people are jacked up. Now, they haven't seen the price probably and, all the details, but, certainly, the conversations I've had, people are very excited.
That's great.
So it's a little scary because we don't know what this means right now for building in the state that we're in with the tariffs and all of that and building costs. I mean, we're kind of in this unknown space, aren't we?
Sure. But we might be in a 90-day reprieve from that. It depends on the day. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part is that we don't know yet what the cost is going to be. And this board is gonna have to see that before they decide for sure that we're going out on a
Right,
bond vote.
right.
Has anybody said anything about doing any kind of preliminary work with either the Development Review Board or the Planning Commission in Berrytown?
Development Review Board is the next one, I think it's the 14th.
Yeah,
So the 6th and the 14th, those are what we're holding
okay.
for the design team to go to. And so the idea is that our architects are gonna do a presentation of what their current concept is, and their thoughts, and just to introduce everybody to the project and get some early feedback, like what are the barriers, what are the concerns, so that they can build that stuff in.
I live in Berrytown, and one of the biggest concerns that has come across my scope is traffic. That's the biggest
Yeah.
issue. Everybody is very pleased that the school would be there, but then the downside is what would be the increase in traffic. But those are all questions that get answered through the process.
So the date again of the review board?
I think the review board is the 14th, but the select board is May 6th.
And May 14th, okay.
Okay. All righty. Anything else for facilities? All right. Negotiations, do we have any reports on negotiations?
We have an executive session for later if there is a report from that team. Are we going to need that, Jason or Guy or Scott?
And there was silence.
I'm not really sure. What do the rest of you guys think? I guess, as far as my view is that we've made some progress on stuff. We're still trying to figure out the financial stuff. That's it.
Yeah, if you think that there's something you need to bring to the board about the financial stuff, specifics, then we would do that executive session, but if you're not there yet, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we are.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing I would add, Jason, is that it's, continues to go well, it's at a snail's pace, but, we're ticking stuff off. We've come to agreement and with a lot of effort, so that's all good.
Okay. All right, so we'll let you guys continue to do your work, and you can.
Oh, we have a meeting, Thursday night.
Yeah, next week.
Okay, very good. Thank you for everything you're doing.
This week.
All right, negotiations, program quality. Lyman, you want to handle program quality?
Sure, we spent some time looking over the data from the school surveys of students, parents. Jody, did you include that that's on our agenda, is it on the full board
The
agenda?
data, no, but everybody got the packet.
Oh, okay. So there is results from several different surveys, as well as the accountability data from the state from last year. So we went through that and we looked at different areas of strengths and needs, places where we need to focus. And that's right, the one thing that we need to do is we're looking to have members of the community join our board as non-voting members. That could be board members from your sending towns, or curriculum coordinators or administrators. And so we're asking that each of you mention that at your next board meetings to see if we could get some people to come and be kind of an advisory position to us, as well as we begin to write the strategic plan for the school.
Guy?
Got
So, Jody, do the programs still have advisory members?
Yes, they do.
So my suggestion is that we reach out to those folks, since they have, some sort of, grounding, and some sort of familiarity and offer the opportunity to them. Not to exclude anybody else, but I'm just thinking, we have people already that are involved on one level in specific areas. Maybe they would like to, share their wisdom with the rest of the folks.
Jody?
Yeah, oh, good.
I'm sorry.
Jody,
I don't know,
that's
because
okay.
you were right by
Yes,
it. I think it's important nevertheless to think of RAB members who would benefit from our educational communities. Some of the folks you're talking about, Guy, would be great, but they are also specific to the content, right? That they advise about. So I'm thinking the superintendents, the principals, curriculum coordinators, because we're looking at what will a full day program look like? What kinds of input do they have into a full day curriculum? Or, so I think it would be beneficial, including inviting student leaders. Just throwing it out there. Okay.
And citizens as well,
Yeah.
that we'd love to have, just individuals from the communities join us. And so as much as we can get the word out to as many people that what we're doing, what we're asking for, and what our future looks like and how they can participate in that, because that's really important. Everybody speaks very fondly of the Career Center, and we want those people who do speak fondly of us and respect us to come and be part of what we're doing, because we benefit a huge area in central Vermont.
You have 3 hands, Alice.
Oh, let's see. Jason?
Yeah, could we get like a paragraph written up or something about this so that we could present it to our boards?
Okay.
Potentially like
That'd be great.
popcorn forum or something in our areas.
All right, introductory statement. We'll get that out.
Thank you.
Scott, did you have a hand up?
I did. Jason said exactly what I was gonna say, probably
Okay.
better, so thank you, Jason.
Guy?
You're both good, trust me. I don't mean to exclude anybody, I just want to make an obvious statement that, we have some current people that are involved, and if they don't know that there's another perhaps opportunity to be involved in a broader area, I would support that. They should just know, clearly, we have 2 or 3 committees where we will benefit from a broader spectrum of interest, of people who are interested, so the more the merrier.
Right. And because the strategic plan is good for usually good for about 5 years, we want to have folks that have that ability to look ahead in what's happening in the industries, what's happening in the communities, what's happening in the state, so we can incorporate that into our strategic plan. All right. Any other questions, concerns, comments about program quality? We seem to be doing all right. All right, superintendent's report. Miss Jody, you have a report for us?
Yep, it was in your very short packet.
Yes.
I basically shared that the legislature continues to work on the transformation of education. It's gone, H 454 has left the House, it's in the Senate. There's some work that they're going to do. It's really unclear what is gonna happen with CTE. House Commerce and Economic Development has had a role in that. And it sounds like the expectation is that we will not move ahead of the whole process. And so there will be some time to kind of map out what might happen to CTE amongst this. So it's probably either going to be one CTE district, or CTEs will be put into whatever regions they're in with their regular traditional schools. So just waiting to see how that goes and trying to identify what are the pros and cons for each of those. Certainly have gotten the vice chair from Commerce and Economic Development met with some of the directors from across the state today and was really looking at what are the pros and cons to this. Like, we wanna really understand it so that we can move forward and make sure that more students are getting access. And recognizing that some of us have wait lists and some centers have space. And so are there other things that we can do to support getting students involved? I did a small segment on the PD that we did in March, which was with Dave Melnick and Transforming Trauma, and talking about how to work with the students that are bringing that trauma with them and how to support them. And then tomorrow, we have our first Vermont Works for Women workshop. It's one of 2 workshops about how to support non-traditional genders in the programming. And so working towards just improving just staff capacity around those 2 places. The one for tomorrow really came out of the survey data over the last few years and showing that there is a portion of our students that just don't feel safe or supported. It's a small portion, but still we want to make sure that we're meeting their needs. And also a few of my staff this year who were like, you know what, I'm not seeing this group of students that I now have a larger amount of in my class. They're not demonstrating the confidence to go into the shop or the workspace as much as the students that are traditionally a part of this. And so trying to figure out ways to support those students to build their confidence. So I'm hopeful that that will help. You have all seen the, or listened to the VPR stuff hopefully, or read that, and also the WCAX piece that came out last, and I got renamed in that, so that's fun. They spelled it right. So lots of press on the fact that there are wait lists in some of our centers, and we're really looking to try to improve access. Building Trades and Electrical is still working on the Hill Street project, so you will see them frequently going up there. This week we have shadows, 2 days this week from our second round of admissions, so there's a little less off-campus stuff this week. Lots of field trips have happened. We had Skills USA last week, and we brought home some gold and silver and bronze with that, as usual. So really great. We're going to see some kids off to Atlanta in June again to compete nationally. And our Exploratories program always moves into Q4 with some community service projects. And so they have several trips to the Berry Cowpatcher this week to take the invasives out there. So I know there's at least 2 days this week that they're going to be out there. It's good the weather's getting better.
Yes. Guy, question, comment?
Just a comment. Just want to give a shout out to Jody and, for the work that she's been doing in terms of publicizing, the issues around CTE. I think it's fantastic, and if you've ever worked with the legislature, the more information they get, the better decisions they can make. So, as a board member, I really appreciate what you've done, Jody, and we're not ready to enshrine you in cement yet, but,
Or granite.
the cameras are on you.
All right. Any questions for the superintendent?
I have a question. First thing you talked about, Jody, is the House bill. And just can you refresh memory on how many CTEs there are in the state, and is it possible that there could be a match of the districts that the state's thinking about and line up nicely with where the career centers are already?
There's 17, but some of them share pieces. Springfield and Wyndham share some towns and sending schools. St. Johnsbury and Linden share a whole group of them because they are actually together they're separate, 7 miles apart, but they don't have the same programming, so they share students.
St. J and
Linden.
Okay.
Burlington and Essex share the same sending schools. So there's a few that could be one, even though there's 2 centers there. It's a little complicated just because we're all so different. But that's something that I think there was an early bill around, let's just do it by the CTE regions that were in state board rule. Those are old.
Yeah.
For instance, Montpelier is mine, and Roxbury is technically Randolph's, but because Roxbury is now in Montpelier, they come to us, right? So there's, because of the Act 46 mergers, there were some shifts in the regions, but they are not in the state board role yet. And so really updating that would also potentially make a difference.
So is that, so Barry and Randolph, we have some overlap?
We do.
Okay, so is there a chance, so, I get, we don't know what's happening, but
Right.
there's, the House bill says there's something going on this summer that would lay out where those boundaries are.
Yep.
Is there hope to get, if that's indeed the path, would there be hope to get some input in that process from Career Center perspective?
Yeah, I mean, right now, there's still both the ideas of either we'd be in regions or there would just be one CTE district for all the CTEs. Those are the two pathways for us. And we don't, I can't say that there's a majority voice in the directors group to say which would be better. There's slightly edging out on the one district side. And I think it's because there's a fear that if you're put in a region with a superintendent that doesn't have CTE experience, they may not make decisions that are best for the Career Center and for students attending that. So there's some specific concerns in some regions. There's some folks that are really excited about the idea of region and don't want to be one district because they're afraid of ruining the relationships that they have with their host high school, for example. And how do we work through that? And right now, if I need this, I just go here. And if I have to go to Montpelier or Burlington or wherever that district office is for that one CTE district, I'm not gonna have the same level of service.
Yep.
And so those are the things that we're just grappling with to try to figure out what do we need. And the agency is certainly still pushing the one CTE something, I'm not sure it's a district, for alignment purposes, but we're not sure what they're aligning it. Are they gonna want us to all be full day? Are they gonna want us to all be half day? Are they just looking for alignment of how we score students? Like, what does that mean? And so there's a lot of unanswered questions to, if we knew what the vision was or the goal, then we might be able to say, oh yes, that would actually get us there. Or, no, I don't think it matters. And in a lot of the things that we have been advocating for as a directors group, either governance could work.
Okay.
Like, the governance is not the answer. Funding is definitely a big piece of that. And knowing that there's non-competitive funding for our sending schools would be really important. Having a statewide calendar, having a statewide teacher's contract, those things could happen without it being part of that governance structure. It makes more sense to do a statewide CTE district if you're only doing CTE teachers in that collective bargaining. So it's just trying to work through the weeds of that and figure out what are the pros and cons. So we've started just kind of outlining those pieces and then pulling out the pieces that it doesn't really matter what governance model there is, we can still achieve them.
Is the legislature listening to your group?
Yeah, so we met with Vice Chair Graining today from House Commerce, and she really was looking for what are the pros and cons to both of these, because you understand it, we don't, and she was talking with us. She'd like to have regular conversations with our group to get that feedback. The Superintendent's Association honestly has been really good about including me into their conversations and in their planning. So when they proposed the components that have actually gone into 454, a lot of that came from the Superintendent's Association, though they were with us in mind as well. And so making sure that CTE doesn't get put out in front as a leverage point, for example. So I feel like we've had people listening. The Senate has had us there several times, and I'm interested to see if they slide us into this bill differently, or if they're just gonna strip some things from it that are in there. We'll see.
Very good. Any other questions or concerns for the superintendent? All right, business managers report. Michelle, are you ready?
Poor Michelle stuck
I'm
downstairs.
Super short and simple.
We have a few
staffing openings coming up for next year, including our electrical technology instructor, our co-op coordinator, and a coordinator of adult ed. Those have been up, and we have applicants to all of those. So we will see where we go. We'll keep you informed of that. Our general ledger, you'll see, I think for me, the big thing is we are overspent right now. Our budget is over by $115,000. But I just want to kind of point out, and I think I did last month, but I will for the next few months anyway, that we decided that we were going to spend our fund balance that we had audited from last year. So $270,000 of our expenses this year went into the welding lab. So those really were overspending our budget, but it's really just to use up those general funds, that fund balance that we brought over. Another thing to point out is we spent $111,000 so far on the architecture and engineering, and those also we agreed that we were going to be putting some money towards this year, but we would be using our fund balance for those. So although a negative number can be concerning, I'm not concerned. We have a few weeks left for purchasing. Usually we start wrapping up the first couple weeks in May. So to see where we are now, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Usually this time of year, we don't have a lot of big purchases. They're little items, disposable items, just to get the kids through the rest of the year type thing. I don't really have any large purchases besides things from grants.
So we'll catch up with that 150,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll show that we overspent, but truly what happens is that when you overspent, you go into your savings. And that's what we decided to do as a district. We decided that we were going to use some of our fund balance. And that'll be on next month's agenda, as well as assigning a fund balance. So right now it's unassigned. So we, the board, get to say what we're going to use it for. But moving forward, it would be incredibly helpful to assign the fund balance to particular items, as in, facilities or equipment, those sorts of things. So we have a better idea of what we actually want to do with our quote unquote savings. Typically, we don't have a big savings. That's because we have to do a tuition true up at the end of the year. We can only charge between 3% above the actual costs. So when we got our financials from Barry, they happen to have a substantial fund balance, and we usually have tried to keep right around that 3%. So we've added, but just minimally. Really, the largest, I want to say almost $350,000 came from audited funds with when we moved over from Barry. If that makes any sense.
Yep. And we still have a fund balance even though we're spending some of it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Guy?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. I know that, obviously these are uncertain times, but what I'm proud about in terms of serving on this board is that, we're on a mission. We want to make sure that, career and technical education kids get taken care of, and right now they're not. And while it's scary to do this, we have a plan. We're going forward. We'll have public input. We'll have a vote, and I'm really proud of that. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Lyman?
If we do assign the fund balance, can we change it if we need to? If something were to come up?
No, it'd have to be voter approved. Once we assign a fund balance, we would let the voters kind of decide on how so some places say any fund balance automatically goes to XYZ. Some centers say we want to put in 2% every year into facilities, those sorts of things. So we can be really strategic in the types of fund balances that we want and how we support those, whether it's just leftover funds type thing, or if we truly have an intention to put in X percent per year into these fund balances.
So for the next meeting next month, would it be possible for you to think about some things that we might use the fund balance for? So, I mean, I would hate to put everything into facilities and then all of a sudden we find out that we needed to hire somebody and we can't use any of that money for it, or whatever the example would be.
Yeah, I can list, well, what I propose we do next time is be more like a brainstorming of, here are some examples from other school districts, and then give you the definitions of what a fund balance is and how they're categorized. They're special funds, they're general funds, that sort of thing. And then we can work together as a group to kind of decide what we think. I mean, realistically, we're building up to this new facility. So in the next 4 or 5 years, our fund balance for our facilities really should be minimal. We're not going to have much upkeep, hopefully, in ours. And if we don't defer maintenance while we're in there, hopefully our facilities stay up to date. It's just those big things, roof repairs and stuff like that. So then we can kind of shift our support from our facilities to other long-term things like equipment or large purchases, like, I don't know, a large tractor, or I don't know, a new truck, those sorts of things.
For the new building, you mean?
For the new building. So we'll have a short-term goal of what we're going to do now to build up to the building. And then we'll have our long-term goal of, if and when we get into this new building, then how do we propose we use our fund balances if we have them?
Jenna?
And at this point, my understanding is most of what we put into the welding lab will go with us.
Yeah. Correct.
Right, okay,
The majority.
yeah.
Do we have to contribute anything to the stormwater management that's going on?
Not. The only thing that we are supporting right now is there was a roof repair years ago in Spalding. So we are still paying a portion of that. That was a bond vote. So we are still paying in our facilities agreement, which we might discuss later. We're paying for that. But other than that, we're not paying any additional costs of things that Spalding's doing.
Okay. Any additional questions? Sir?
Quick question on the architectural fees. Is there any kind of budget for that, architecture and engineering? Is there a cap? Because sometimes architects can continue to design and they can go overboard.
So we have an agreement drawn up on each phase and what we're allowed to spend. There are some soft costs, of course, and there are some hard costs, and we are well within the agreed upon budget. What's happening now is we were debating on whether to make this span across 2 years to prolong our bond vote or to get kind of everything done. And because we have the fund balance right now, we're going to be using that so we can make sure we are prepared and ready to go for our bond vote.
Thank you.
But there is a budget and agreed upon cost.
Very good. All right. We're up to, let me just take a question here. Are the building trades folks going to be here?
I'm not seeing anything, so he must have forgotten.
Okay, all righty.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Bring him back next month.
But yes, and in the meantime, we can all drive by the little house on Hill Street as you go up Hill Street. You just go over the railroad tracks and immediately on the left, there's a house being built there, and that we are contributing to building that house with Habitat for Humanity. So if you're driving up Hill Street, I drive by it every day.
So what's the address, so I know?
22.
22 Hill Street?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that on the way home.
Yeah, it's just over the railroad tracks and on the left, if you're going up the hill. Alrighty, board discussion and action. Board appointment for Harvard and Washington Central at large.
Guy has his hand.
Oh, Guy?
Sorry.
Yes, Guy.
Sorry, just a quick comment on building trades, hopefully they show up, but I know that there was an illness at the last meeting, but I had made a suggestion that we put a sign up of some sort, like a political sign, doesn't need to be big, well, preferably it should be big. Where we're working on projects with the students, that we advertise that, that, you know, I think it's an additional, it's an additional hoorah for us, you know? I drive by there every day and, you know, it would be nice to see that.
Good idea, thank you.
All right. That's good. Now, board appointment for Harwood and Washington Central. So we have folks. We have candidates. Would you like to introduce yourself again and why you're interested in being on our board?
Sure, Todd Coman, I live in Middlesex and have for 30 years. And my profession has been higher education, but I'm also passionate about building, small-scale farming, and these kind of things. I'm a terrible mechanic, but I do know how to grow food, and I love that, and harvest my own firewood and these kind of things on our land. And over the decades, teaching at Johnson State College and then down at Endicott College, I had opportunities to work with people from the career and technical centers, particularly the Green Mountain Tech Center and culinary arts faculty and the students. And I always was impressed with the student body, with the faculty, and with the community support. And I was on their advisory committees for the culinary programs, both down in Massachusetts and primarily up at Johnson State and in Hyde Park. So once I retired a few years ago, it took me a couple of years to sort of sort things out, but I always had in the back of my head that this would be interesting to get involved somehow with the Career and Technical Center here because it's in central Vermont. And then I realized that, I missed the deadline for running on the ballot, and nobody ran on the ballot. And then the opportunity came up to meet with this other superintendent. Jody sent me an email and I came and visited, and I'm very interested, and I think that my background can lend itself to helping you navigate, especially with the new facility. I have a lot of ideas that I'll share in the future if I'm approved.
We welcome ideas. Yes. Well, thank you very much for volunteering. And we have one other.
Yeah, Wayne joined us online.
Wayne Goulet?
You're muted.
You're muted, Wayne. See if you can unmute. See if I can, oh yeah.
Okay, am I good?
You're
Yes,
good.
there you are.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my name is Wayne Goulet, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. The reason why I'm interested in joining the board is I used to be a tech school teacher. For 4 years, I was at Randolph Technical School. I taught the business program, and one of the things that I was very passionate about when I was teaching the business program at Randolph was personal finance. I'm not sure, I'm one of the advocates of that every student should have some form of personal finance before they leave school. And throughout the nation, there's been, I don't know how many states have implemented the personal finance course within their curriculum, but I think Vermont is one of the very few that has not. So, when I was growing up in Massachusetts, I went to a Catholic high school, and I always thought the road to success was, hey, you did 4 years of high school, then you went 4 years of college. And that's what I believed until I got to Randolph and started teaching at the technical school, at the technical high school. I learned so much there. I learned that, there's lots of ways, there's lots of paths to success for students. And I saw that in my classroom, I saw that in the other programs. We used to coordinate with the other programs, like building trades, vehicle maintenance. Some of their students would come into my classroom and learn about not only personal finance, but also business classes. I used to teach them accounting. And so it was great to get the programs to collaborate. And so that's something that I'm really interested in. You know, and I also like to volunteer in the community. We moved to Vermont 9 years ago. My wife was also an educator. She currently works at St. Tech in St. Albans. But so before I started teaching at Randolph, I was in Germany. I'm a 25-year military veteran. I retired from the Air Force in 2011, and then I started teaching junior ROTC at Ramstein High School for 3 years. And so that was like my first introduction to the classroom. And you know, I understand the demands of teachers. I understand the struggles or the challenges that you have, and that's what I could bring, that understanding. I like to volunteer in the community. I'm currently the commander for the Waterbury Post 59 American Legion, and I'm in the process right now of organizing a Pinewood Derby for adults and also for kids. So, yeah, first annual Pinewood Derby, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun because one of the things that we do is we interact with our community members. That's well, the American Legion was formed to serve veterans, but we also support the community. So we are huge advocates of the Boy Scout program, but not only that, the Waterbury Winterfest. So the amount of volunteerism in community involvement is immense. I also, when I was teaching at Randolph, I did four or so years. I was a volunteer at Capstone Community, where I did taxes for low-income people, so clients, and that was very eye-opening too. So that's why I'm interested in the position. So hey, thanks for your time.
Well, thank you
for introducing yourself.
Yes. So, we need a motion to appoint representatives from Harwood and Washington Central for the at-large seats to our board.
So moved.
Patrick, any second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition?
So I'm gonna call that Patrick moved to appoint Todd Coman to the Washington Central Unified Union School District at-large position and Wayne Goulet to the Harwood Unified Union School District at-large position.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we will do that. Any abstentions?
Lyman has his hand up.
Lyman, you have a question?
Oh no, are we done?
No.
I have a comment, but I wanted to be after the.
Okay. Motion carries. Yes. And now Lyman, your comment.
All right, Wayne, in our program quality meeting right before this, we talked about the integration of personal finance into our courses. So I think you should probably be on our committee. Dibs. I'm calling dibs right now.
I know, I welcome it.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks,
Okay, Lyman.
Yes, I have lots of ideas.
All right.
Very good. So welcome. You are now voting members of our board.
Thank you.
You
Thank
will
you.
need to get sworn in at your town
Town
clerk's
clerk.
office.
Oh, okay. Our new town clerk, I have to go see
So I will
her.
reach out and let them know that you were appointed. This is a
Okay.
1-year appointment for both of you. Congratulations and
Thank
welcome. I'll make sure that you get your email and everything from us tomorrow, so you'll get some outreach on that. And I'll also reach out to your town clerk and let them know. Can somebody tell me who seconded that one?
I did.
Thank you.
It's like, we're the
Yeah.
only two here, so we just kind of go back
Back and
and forth.
forth.
Got it.
All right. So we now have a larger complement on our board.
That's great.
With a
Excellent.
very
Thank you very much.
interesting people. So welcome to the group of interesting people that we always like to think we are.
And you are.
All right.
Welcome, folks.
Yes. The EMS 2, there is a revision to what we talked about before. And the superintendent can introduce us to it then.
Yeah, so last meeting, we voted to close 2 programs, and I'm bringing this back to ask you to pause EMS 2 for 1 year instead of close it, which is what we had done with design and fabrication in the previous year. Part of the reason why is that I learned soon after that, not that we had more students interested, but that we had some funding that the state was going to make available to our program. They're also wanting us to take on the District 6 trainings for adults. And so we're talking about whether or not EMS 2 will be an adult program or maybe come back as a student day program at some point. And also Carl has done a lot of work to talk to Elizabethtown Community College, which has a different paramedic program that we could potentially align with and step away from Vermont State University since we've had that struggle. So I'm asking us to pause it for a year while we do this background work and we build up the adult side of training in EMS to see if we might be able to bring it back. If we close it with the AOE, then we have to go through a much more rigid process to try to bring it back. But if we pause it for 1 year and then make a decision of whether we're closing or reopening, I think that gives us a little more flexibility. And the agency did say that they were fine with us making this amendment.
I think that's great.
And if I could just speak to that, what it also offers is the opportunity to really expand a truly educational program that leads to being a paramedic. Right at the moment, many of the adult ed programs are held in unusual places like firehouse ambulance bays and church basements and places like that. And if we become the center of instruction for that, we have an educational environment that will probably even draw more people from the adult population in because they're not in those unique situations trying to learn.
So we guarantee more students.
Yep.
And do the students, the adult students, engage with our high school students, or are they a separate entity?
It can be
They
either way.
might. It would be so.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, but it's really important because the days of just having advanced first aid and being a, person who rode on the ambulance are well gone. And not only are medical facilities, but insurance companies and all that, making sure that the first responders are highly trained. And so this is our opportunity to really get our teeth into that and work well with it.
And we're the only one in the country that has
Right.
an EMS too, so I don't wanna lose that.
Well, and that, there was Alice was involved in the first meeting that we had with this group that was like, wait, please don't do this yet. And then they understood why we did, they understood the small amount of students, and what I've heard them, we met today, and they kind of took ownership of, they didn't put the word out there either, and so they weren't helping. And they've talked with the 2 other districts, 2 and 4, so Orange County and Lamoille County, and said, look, if you're gonna train EMTs, then we can bring them all together here at Central Vermont to do the advanced EMT or the paramedic. EMS 2 could come back as either one of those. And then we can move this work forward, and this could be the model in the state. And so they were talking with Will, I'm not gonna remember his last name, who is at the state level, who said, yes, I have some funds for that. Berrytown says, I have some funds for that. So there's some interest in just trying to build up what we started and to really support it, which they weren't doing before.
So we have a year of building and forming.
Yes, and so many of those folks are hoping to come to the May meeting and talk about what this could look like and how they're going to contribute, so we can really plan for what the next year will look like.
Yeah, that's really great because it's innovative and it's collaborative and there's a huge need for this kind of training out there. And I think about the ski resorts as well, and they need EMS 2 training, well-trained people, not only in the towns, but in these big operations.
Alrighty, so we will move forward with that, and we're on an upward trajectory and very positive, so I think it'll be good for everyone. All right, personnel.
We actually have to go through the voting process on that.
Oh, on this, on the we're gonna pause it. All right, so I need a motion to pause EMS 2 for 1 year. Someone wanna make that motion?
So moved.
All right, Jenna,
Second?
second by Patrick.
Second.
Okay, second, can we give it to Lyman this
Yeah.
time? All right,
Yeah.
second by Lyman?
Yeah.
All right, second by Lyman. All those in favor? Yes.
Really quickly, Alice, so we already voted to close the program. Do we need to, like, rescind that vote, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
I think we're prematurely voting on pausing, I guess is what I'm saying.
okay, so,
Or is it,
we'll pause it, not close it. Is that our
Right, we
motion?
move to rescind the closure and pause the
And
program
pause it for 1 year. All right, so let's just make that motion absolutely clear. We are moving to rescind the closure of EMS 2 and pause it for 1 year.
Okay,
Is that,
excellent.
okay? So, I have a motion from Jenna and a second from Lyman. All of those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Any opposition? Hearing none. Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. So EMS 2
Great.
is no longer closed, it is paused for 1 year. Very good. All right, now personnel. New hires, resignations, retirements, or
We're gonna need to
non-renewals.
do an executive session first, and then
Okay.
we'll come back to that.
All righty, we will do that. Session. And then the facilities use agreement, can we do that before we go into executive session?
Yeah, we don't have any action on that one. Basically, BUSD has had that, agreement with Sean Tui of Linland Blackman, and we're supposed to get it back, but there was still one update that they were wanting to make. I would tell you, though, that there's a clause in the original that says that we can extend that agreement for as long as we want. We have the control on that.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily have to agree to any changes that have been made in it. So when we see that, I will pull the original and the amendment that we did sign, and then we'll bring the other copy next to it and really look at what are the differences when we talk about it.
Okay,
Great.
all righty. And that agreement, for everyone who may not be aware, that is with the Berry Unified Union School District, who basically own this building that we're in. We rent. Okay, very good. So now we need to move into executive session. We're going to move into executive session with all the board members, Superintendent Emerson, Business Manager Michelle Lehman, for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of which public knowledge would clearly place the public body or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Motion to move into executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Patrick?
So moved.
Okay, second, we'll get
Who
Scott.
seconded it?
Scott.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We are moving into executive session now. All right, need a motion to leave executive session.
I'll move to leave executive session.
Patrick, need a second to the motion to exit executive session?
I'll second it.
Second by Jana. All those in favor of exiting executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. We are now back in regular session.
You know what? We were muted. Sorry.
Oh,
That's why nobody voted.
That's why no one voted.
all right,
So, or
all right,
motion.
we'll do it again.
Boo, Betsy.
Can we stick with the time that we did?
Yes.
The executive session
Yes.
at 7:09.
Just
like
need
that?
to affirm the vote to leave executive session. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got it. All right.
Go back into regular session.
Back into regular session. We need a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent for a reduction in force for the EMS 2 instructor.
So moved, Guy.
All right, need a second? Somebody gonna second that motion?
I'll second it, Jason.
Okay, Jason, thank you. All right, all those in favor of reduction in force for the EMS 2 instructor, please say aye.
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 Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I need a motion to provide a non-renewal for integrated academics humanities teacher and design and fabrication teacher.
So moved.
Moved by Jana, I need a second.
I'll second it, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. All those in favor of non-renewal? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposition? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries, and we thank those teachers for their work that they have put into our Career Center. And it's unfortunate that just because of the way things are with student population,
Yeah,
we will,
yeah.
it is very difficult, but it has to be done. Thank you all to all of our instructors. Very good. Future agenda items, is there anything that anyone sees as a large event that we need to make sure we have on a future agenda?
We're gonna invite today's presenter, we're gonna have 2 presenters next, okay.
Okay. All right,
We will have the District 6 EMS folks here at the May meeting.
okay, very good. We'll have District 6 EMS and building trades if they're available.
And a good chunk of time to discuss fund balances.
Okay, very good. Fund balances and,
And could we also kind of process or, you know, what happened with the May 6th meeting with the public? Just processing here
oh yeah, May
with the
6th,
design?
select board,
That'll probably be under the facilities
Yeah.
committee.
the select board, okay. Very good.
We are at some point, Michelle, too, gonna need to talk about a project manager or one of those other labels as we scale up in that project, so we might need an RFP for that.
Yeah, I drafted it along with the clerk of the works. We could bring it to facilities first and they can draft what their expectation is for the project before we bring it to the board, so sooner than later, I'm hoping maybe in May
Okay.
or sooner.
All right. So we've got some good things on our agenda for next month. All right. Anything else, any other business to come before this board? Again, thank you all for what you do. Thank you to our 2 new members for joining us, and we look forward to great things for our Career Center district. I need a motion to adjourn. Guy, motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All right. Jason.
I decided